Greetings to you all and welcome to Credit Data. My name is Safari Ernest and today I'm going to take you through inventory and turnovers. Okay, so before then, let's look at what inventory means. So when we say inventory, we are talking about what our number of stocks left. So our number of stocks left. When we say stocks, what does it mean by stocks? When we say stocks, we are talking about number of our what goods or what commodities commodities left, right? So number of stocks, goods or commodities left, that is what we term as what inventory. So if you are selling boxes of tomatoes, and you are left with what 3 boxes, those 3 boxes becomes your inventory, because those are the items you have what left. So you can also say items. Those are the items you have left, and that is what inventory. Okay, so under inventory, we are going to look at so many methods of calculating for what inventory. We have so many methods, but then we are saying for some products, we have certain products, like let's say, where is it? Okay. So let's first talk about the inventory valuation. Okay, inventory valuation. So when we say value, when you hear the word value, what does it mean by value? So when we say value, what does it mean? You are putting a price or a cost on a good, right? So you are determining the value of a good. So a cost on an item. A cost on an item is what? Its value, right? So just put it in mind. Item or any of these. So the cost of any of this is what? A value. So that is inventory valuation. Inventory is talking about the number of items, right? And if you want to know the inventory valuation, that is when you add or you calculate for the prices or the cost of that particular items you have left. Is that okay? So we are done with the inventory valuation or value of inventory. Value of inventory. Okay, we have value of inventory. So we are done with this one. Now let's move on to the next one. You see, we have universal product codes. Most of time, when you buy a product, you see there is a universal product code. There are some stripes, mostly 8 to what 13. There are some stripes, and it comes with what some serial numbers, right? It comes with some serial numbers, and those are what we term as what universal product what codes, right? So most of the companies, when they receive products like that, what they do is, um, because of the size of that product, the price on it, the nature of that product, they just put everything on a computer, so that immediately they scan this code, it will generate the size, the cost, or everything about that product. So that is what they normally do in the shopping malls, right? So when you go there, you see there are products, any products that you pick, there is a universal product code. So they scan it with a scanner, then so the scanner will just bring out all the information of the products before they determine the price of that particular product. Okay, so that is the universal product code, right? Now, like I said, we have so many ways of calculating for what inventory. But the first one that we are going to look at is very simple, right? That is specific identification method, SIM, right? So let me clean the board so that we get enough space to do our work. So we are starting with what? Specific identification method. Specific identification method. Okay. So the specific identification method, we are talking about some of the products. For them, they don't have, how do you call it? They have letters being allocated to them, and each letter comes with what? A particular number, right? That is why we are saying specific identification, right? They have been labeled with certain specifics, right? So we are going to look at it. For example, they can give you um, KSBSA, right? So KSBSA means K University School of Business Students Association, right? And so with this one, they can say if you see any product labeled K, it means that product has a value of what? 2. If you see a product labeled S, it has a value of 3. B, 4. If you see another S, it means it is 5. If you see A, it is what? 6. So these are what? An identification, right, to these letters. And so when we say specific identification method, this is what we mean. And so under this procedure or this method, they can just ask you, so calculate for the value of inventory. So calculate for the number of inventory. Now when we say number of inventory, we are talking about the amount, sorry, not the amount, the quantity of items left. Because you know inventory is the number of items left, right? The quantity. So this one, if you are to calculate for an inventory of any given product of which you have KBA, you have KBA like this, and you have been asked to calculate for the number of inventory. What you do is K represents what? 2. So you write 2. B represents what? 4. You write 4. And A represents what? 6. And you are done. Okay, so this is the number of inventory. It means the inventory left for KBA in the warehouse is 246 units. Okay, 246 units. That is it. Okay, then this is what quantity, number, quantity, right? Then in case they can also ask you to calculate for the value of inventory or the cost of any given product labeled B KSA. Okay. And the no circumstance that they will give you a question and you will see what? 2SS. Right? And the no circumstance. Or if you have a question where you have S here and you use the first S and you don't see the answer in the options, you redo it again by using the second S. Do you get it? As simple as that. Okay, so you have BKSE. Now B represents 4, K is 2, S is what? 3, and A is what? 6. So now we are looking for what? The value. We are looking for value. So when you are looking for value, it means you are looking for cost or price. So it should be in 2 decimal places because of our currency, right? And you know our currency is what? In 2 decimal places. So you bring a dot here. So your value of inventory is going to be 42.36. As simple as this, right? Then let's say suppose you don't see this in the options. Okay, what you do is now you use this initial with S. So now you're going to use this S, which is the 5. So likewise, it becomes 4, 2 point. Now the S is not going to be 3 but 5. Then you bring the A, which is 6. So your value of inventory at this point is going to be 42.56. Okay, so if you don't see this one in the option, you can come for this. Okay, if you don't see this one too, you can come for this. As simple as that. Okay, so this is how we calculate for what? The specific identification method. If it talks about number or quantity, they are talking about units, right? So you don't need to bring any decimal. But then if it talks about how do we call it? Price or cost, as in the value in monetary terms, right? Then it becomes 2 decimal places. I hope you get that. So as simple as that. We are done with the specific identification method. So now let's move on to another method that we call the weighted average cost method. Okay, the weighted average cost method. Okay, so average cost method. So it is average or weighted. Okay, don't forget average or weighted. So there's another method that we are going to use. Now in our elementary school and senior high schools, you know that anytime we talk about what average or weight, it means they are talking about what mean. right? We are talking about mean. And anything mean is what? The total number, summation of x, or summation of fx over summation of what? F. So this represents the total quantity, and this represents what? Your price, which is the f, times your quantity x, and you sum them, you divide it by the total quantity, and you get your what? Average cost, right, for one product. So as simple as that. We are not going to use this formula, but I was just trying to explain it to you how you are going to find for the average. So for the average method, you are going to just keep this formula in mind, that the average method is equal to the total extension, divided by total quantity. Now this average method is for what? One product or one item. So the average cost that you are going to get is for only one item. So it is when you get the average cost of a single item, that is when you multiply it by the whole items in the warehouse. So suppose you have 5 mangoes, okay, 5 mangoes. Then you calculate for the average price. You want to know the average price of one mango, right? What you do is, after using this formula to calculate for the average method, that price will be for only one mango, right? So let's say one mango is equal to 5 Ghana cedis. So if one mango is equal to this 5 Ghana cedis, the whole of these 5 mangoes left will be equal to what? That is when you multiply these 5 cedis by all the items left. So if you get the average cost for one item, then you multiply it by the inventory or the ending inventory, the items left. You multiply that average cost by the item left. Then you get what? Your average cost for all the products or the inventory left. Okay, so that is it. Let's take a table and look at how Big Malam Sports and Leisure made the following purchases of the EEF backpack during the year. So we have what? The beginning inventory to be what? 20 backpacks, January to be 50 backpacks, March to be 100 backpacks, July to be 60 backpacks, and October to be 40 backpacks. Okay, and now they are saying the ending inventory or the ending inventory or the inventory left. The ending inventory is equal to what? 75. So it means at the end of the accounting period or at the end of the year, they realize they have 75 inventories left. They have 75 number of items left in their inventory. So now they want to calculate for the average cost of this inventory, right? So what we are going to do is, don't forget the formula, total extension, right? And when we say extension, what do we mean by extension? So when we say extension, extension is equal to price times what? Quantity. Your extension is equal to price times quantity. So before you get the extension for all of these, you need to find the extension for this, extension for this. Then you add them to get what? The total extension. I hope you get it. So how do you create the extension? The question will be given like this. All that you need to do is draw one column in addition. So let me clean the topic so that you provide a space for that. So we say here is what? Extension. So this is extension. Okay, this is extension. So for the extension, we are saying it is price times quantity, right? So I did not add the price. I'm supposed to add the price before the extension. Sorry. So the price must come. We have the quantity here, but we don't have the price. So for the price, we have 70 here, we have 80 here, we have 90 here, we have 85, and we have 75. Okay. So we have our prices. Then the next thing is to get what? Extension. That is price times quantity. So we write extension. So what is the extension? The extension is what? This price multiplying this quantity, as simple as that. So when you do that, 70 times 20 will give us what? 70 times 20 will give us 1,400. Okay. Then 50 times 80 will give us 4,000. Okay. Then 90 times 100 will give us 9,000. Okay. Then 60 times 85. 60 times 85 will give us 5,100. And 40 times 75 will give us 3,000. So now we have what? The extension. So there's the extension for the beginning inventory. So in an examination, they ask you what is the extension for the month of January. So there's the extension for January. You just write this number. Okay. What is the extension for the month of July? That is 5,000. And you go away. But then before we calculate for the average cost, what did I say? Your total extension over total what? Quantity. Right? So what is the total quantity? We have 20 plus 50 plus 100 plus 60 plus 40. So we have 270 as our total quantity. So our total quantity is equal to what? 270 units, okay, or backpacks. Then our our total extension, our total extension is equal to, let's go, 1,400 plus 4,000 plus 9,000 plus 5,100 plus 3,000. Okay, we have 22,500 Ghana cedis. So 22,500. We have 22,500. Okay, so what we are going to do is, we know the formula already, that for us to get our average cost for one product, average cost for 1 unit, it becomes what? The total extension over what? The total quantity. So now what is the total extension here? The total extension is 22,500. So we say 22,500, okay, as our total extension. Then we divide it by our total quantity, which is 270. Okay, so when you divide it by 270, you are going to get 83.33. Okay, so this is the average cost for one item. Now let's read the question and look at what the question is expected of us. So the question says, at the end of the year, there were 75 backpacks in inventory. Use the weighted average method to find the inventory value. So it means we have to find for the value of inventory, the cost of the inventory. Now they said 75 backpacks left. So our inventory is 75. Don't forget I said inventory is the number of items left. And the number of items left is what? 75. But the question is asking us to calculate for the monetary value of these 75 items. Imagine we had 2,000 boxes of tomatoes, right? And now we've sold so many of them to the point that the ones left are just 75 in units or quantity, right? So we want to calculate the value or the amount that we will get from that 75 quantity. So before you calculate for that amount, you need to get amount for one box. Then after getting the amount for one box, you multiply that amount by the 75 boxes. Okay. So now we have 75 backpacks left, and we know that the amount for one backpack is 83.33. So all that we are going to do is our value of inventory is going to be this, the price, which is 83.33, multiplying what? 75. Okay. So when you do this, what are you getting as your final answer? You are going to get 6,249. 6,249.75. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so we are done with uh, the average cost method. Okay, we are done with the average cost method. Maybe from here we are going to look at another method for calculating for inventory. Okay, but there's the average cost method. Okay, so from average cost method, then we move on to FIFO method and LIFO method. Okay, so let's we are going to use the same table. So we are not going to clean the table, but we are going to clean the solution. Okay, we are going to clean the solution. Okay, so now we are going to look at what the FIFO method. Okay, so we have two methods. They are twins. We have the FIFO method and the LIFO method, but let's look at FIFO method. When we talk about FIFO method, we mean what? First in, first out. Okay, so first in, first out, what does it mean? It means, you see, we have a warehouse, and sometimes we can order for items beginning of the year, right? Or we will have items within January, February, July, October, right? So for the first in, first out, we mean those items that came first. They are the first ones that we will sell. Okay. So the more recent items, those who just came late, they will stay. So they will be our inventory. So if you are talking about FIFO method, it means suppose you bought 5 mangoes. One here, two, three, four, five. And now you are saying your number or your inventory is what? 2 mangoes. It means you have only 2 mangoes left, right? So if you have 2 mangoes left, we are saying under the FIFO method, the more recent ones must stay because people first in, first out. It means if we have two left and already we had five, it means the one that came first, we have sold it. This one came first, so first in, first out, first in, first out, first in, first out. So now we are left with what? 2 mangoes, right? So that is why anytime you are dealing with first in, first out, you always start counting for the items just from below the table or beneath the table. So let's say um, you have, yes, let's say using this table, let's say you have 120 backpacks left. Okay, 120 backpacks left. You are supposed to start from down to top. You do the counting. So you get the 120. So here is what? 40. So you subtract 40 from 120. You are going to get what? 80. So you have 80 more. So you subtract this 60 from 80. You have what? 20. Now, because here is 100 and you are left with only 20, it means what you are going to do is very simple. You are rather going to replace this 20 here. So here was 20 instead of what? 100. Because first in, first out. This first one, we have sold it. This second 50, we have sold it. And this 100, we have sold 80 of them. So we are remain with what? 20 in the warehouse. Because inventory is what? The number of items we have in the warehouse. So if we have 120 left, then it means this 100 we sold 80 and it is remaining 20. And the one that came in July is intact. We have not tied it. The one came in October is intact. We have not tied it. I hope you get it. So this explanation goes to FIFO and LIFO at the same time. Okay, but just that one will start from the down and one will start from the top. Okay, so let's solve a question under it and see. Suppose you have 75 backpacks left as the ending inventory. It was stated. So our ending inventory. ending inventory is 75. Okay. So if the ending inventory is 75 and we are saying FIFO, we should start counting from the most recent ones. So it means the most recent one, the one that came very late, is what? That of what? October. So it means we are going to calculate for the extension for October. So when you come here, assuming, forget about this extension and let's do another extension. Okay. It's the same thing, but I want us to treat it differently. Okay. So let me clean this extension. So what you are going to do is you are going to treat every extension. So you write October. And October, how many left? How many days? 40. Multiplying the price in October, which is 75. Okay, 75. All right. Then, since we have only calculated for 40 out of the 120, it means we have 180 still left in the warehouse. And that 180 left in the warehouse, where are we going to get them from? We are going to get 60 of those 180. Is it 180? I said, what is the inventory left? I said 75, sorry. So 75. So if 75, we have used or we have calculated for what? Only 40. It means how many left? 35. Then it means the 35 will go, or the 35 in the warehouse was from the month of what? July. Since you are done with this one, you move to the next month. Now 75 minus 40 is what? 35. Okay. So it means this 35 will come here. You are not going to multiply this 60 by the price, but rather the remaining one with what's the price. Suppose you had 65 left, like you would have calculated for the 60 times this, then the remaining 5 will come here and multiply this. You will not multiply the 100 by this. But now, because we are having 35, that 35 is not up to this. So we are not going to use this to multiply this, but rather the remaining by the amount here. So we say July is equal to what? The quantity 35 multiplying the price 85 Ghana cedis. Okay, it's very simple. So this one will give you 40 times 75 will give you 3,000, and 35 times 85 will also give you 2,000, 2,975. Okay, so once you create the extensions for the 2 months, the next thing is just add them, and that is all. That one becomes your final answer. So in this case, your value of inventory is equal to 5,975. Okay, so this is your value of inventory. You are done calculating for what? FIFO. So don't forget FIFO. You start calculating it from what? Down here, and you come up. Okay, so that is it for FIFO. Now let's calculate another one thing under FIFO and see. Suppose we have 115 backpacks left. So suppose we have 115. How are we going to calculate it? Using FIFO. We have 40 years, so 40 times 75. Okay, that is month of October. Then when you subtract 40 from 115, what do you have? You have 75 left, and that 75 is more than the amount here. So it means you can multiply this amount. If the remaining one is more than what is in the question, it means multiply what is in the question by the price. Okay, so you are left with 75. So the 75 is more than 60. Now July is equal to 60 times 85. Right, now you are left with what? 15. 15, because these two will give you 100, and we said 115. So those 15 will come from this 100. This 15 will come here. And because it is remain with what? 15, you are not going to multiply this 100 by the 15, okay, by the 90, but rather the 15 by 90. So month of what? March. You have 15 multiplying the 90 there. Okay, then you continue with your calculations. 40 times 75 is giving us 3,000. Then 60, I'm not solving this. I'm just giving it to you. So solve it and put the answer under the comment section. I'll just come and validate it for you. Okay. So that is it for FIFO. We are done with what? FIFO. Okay. If you don't understand anything, you put it under the comment section and I will attend to you. Okay. So we are done with one method. Another method which is FIFO. We are going to another method which is what? LIFO. And this LIFO means what? Last in, first out. The initial one, we said first in, first out because the item that came into the warehouse very early, or the very first commodities or items that came, they are the first we will sell or we sold. But when you are talking about LIFO, the last in, first out, it means the more or the most recent items, they are the first we will sell. So last in, first out. The one that came in last will be the first to go out. Is that okay? So here, if we say we have 75 backpacks left, it means the ones that we started selling are these ones, right? This before coming to this, before coming to this, like that. So when you are solving for LIFO, you start from the top, like how we did for the FIFO, but that one you start from the top. And when you are calculating for FIFO, you start from the down. Have that ideology in mind. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Now we have 75 backpacks left. We have 20 here. So beginning inventory is giving us what? 20. It's giving us 20 times 70. Okay. Then since we are done with 20, it means how many left here? 55. Now we have 50 here. So it means we can multiply this 50 by 80 since the remaining is more than this. So we say January, we have what? 50 by 80 Ghana cedis. So we have 20, 50. So how many left? We have 5 left. So we are going to take that 5 from here. Instead of multiplying 100 by 90, because the remaining is not up to date, you cannot multiply this, but rather the remaining amount by 90. So which month is that? March. Is what? 5 times 90 Ghana cedis. 5 times 90 Ghana cedis. So these are what extensions for the various months. So what do we have? We have 20 times 70, which is giving us 1,400. We have 50 times 80, which is giving us 4,000. And we have 5 times 90, which is giving us 450. Okay. So now if you want to get your value of inventory, if you want to get value of inventory, it is summation of this. Okay. And what do you have for that? That is 5,850. Is that okay? So that is it for LIFO method. That is it for LIFO method. So we are going to solve another question under LIFO. That one is just try work. Solve it, but when you put it under the comment section, indicate it. FIFO is equal to, then you bring the answer. LIFO is equal to, you bring the answer. So you are going to try the ending inventory of 180. So your trial question, try 180 inventory. Okay, 180 inventory, and give me the answer at the comment section. Okay, so we are done for LIFO. Now let's see, since we are left with 2 more method or approach in calculating for the inventory. Okay, the one left, we have gross profit method. Okay, so for gross profit method, we are saying we can also calculate our number of inventory or the value of inventory using what? Our profits or our net profits, right? So using our gross profit, sorry, not net profit. So our gross profit method, that is what we are going to look at. So for the gross profit method, we are saying before you get for the ending inventory or the value of inventory, before you get for the value of inventory, that one goes with a little bit formula, right? So it is equal to your merchandise available, your merchandise available minus your cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold. Okay. This is how to get the value of inventory. But the merchandise available to, we have a way of calculating for it. It will not be given to you directly from the question. But if it is given to you, you are fortunate because most of the time you would have to calculate for it before you bring it in the formula. Okay. So we say merchandise available. Merchandise available is equal to your beginning inventory plus what? Purchases. Purchases. Right. Your beginning inventory plus purchases. But for gross profit method, we are dealing with what? At cost. Anything that you see should be at cost because we'll be looking at retail method where we look at retail. So this one should be at cost, right? All right. So now we know the formula for merchandise available for sale or whatever. And this cost of goods sold, sometimes it will be given, sometimes it might not be given. That one too, we should prepare and know how to calculate for it. So cost of goods sold, we call it COGS, is equal to, that one is equal to, should I really state? I think, okay, let me just do it like that. Plus, it is cost of goods sold. The uh, the natural formula or the original formula and its cost of, we use the formula for net sale to calculate for cost of goods sold. So it is cost of goods sold plus the markup. So let's say markup. So just markup. Markup is the markup rate times the net sales, right? Then you say equal to net sales, right? This markup is talking about, they will give you a percentage, right? They will give you a percentage. So the percentage times the net sale, the percentage times the net sale is what we call what? Markup. Okay, yes, we will solve a question so you understand. So just picture the formula in in your mind. Okay, so let me clean this one so that we take a question under gross profit method and learn how to calculate for it. Okay, so for the gross profit method, I'm reading the question and it's on your screen. You can also read alongside. So inventory on August 31st was 24,200. During the next 4 months, the company had purchases of 42,500 and net sales of 52,800. Okay. Then, and net sales of 52,800. Use the gross profit method to estimate the value of inventory on October 31st if the company uses a markup of 25% on selling price. Okay, so we are done reading the question. Let's take the parameters and look at the formula, whether we can solve it or not. Okay, so we have on August 31st was 24,000. So that is beginning inventory. So we have our beginning inventory to be 24,200 to be 24,200. This is our beginning inventory from the question. During the next 4 months, the company had purchases. So we have purchases of around where 42,500. Okay, and net sales of 52,800. So we have net sales of what? 52,000. Net sales of 52,800. Is that okay? Then use the gross profit method to estimate the value of inventory on October 31st. If the company uses a markup of, so there was a markup percentage given. So markup rates, it was 25%. So these are the parameters given in the question. Let's look at them if we can solve the question or not. Now we know before we calculate for the value of inventory, it is merchandise available for sale minus cost of goods sold. Now from the question, we don't have merchandise available for sale. We don't have cost of goods sold. So what we are going to do is calculate for each item there. So first of all, solution. We calculate for merchandise available for sale. Merchandise available. Okay. And that will be equal to your beginning inventory plus purchases, right? So you have the beginning inventory to be 24,200. I hope you get it. Plus your purchases was given as 42,500. Is that okay? So your merchandise available for sale, you are going to get what? 66,700. Okay, you have your merchandise available for sale at 66,700. Now that you are done with merchandise available for sale, you need cost of goods sold before you can subtract it from this amount to get your value of inventory. So the next thing to do is to calculate for what? Your cost of goods sold. And how do you calculate for it? It is the cost of goods sold plus the markup. So the cost of goods sold was not given. So we say COGS, cost of goods sold, plus we are saying the markup is what? The percentage times the net sale. Now the percentage was given as 25%, multiplying the net sale, which is 52,800. Okay, so when you solve this, then you are going to get when you multiply, then equal to what? Net sale again. So 52,800. All right, then let's move on. So this can be changed to 0.5 or whatever, but that is not where our concern is. Okay, so we are grouping items. Let's multiply this. Then we send this to the right hand side of the equation. So COGS is equal to a plus 25% times 52,800 is what? 25 or 0.25 times 52,800 is giving us 13,200, okay, equal to 52,800. Is that okay? 25 times this is giving us this. So now since we have this standard, we can send this to the equal sign and find this. So we have COGS to be equal to 52,800 minus what? 13,200. Then we have COGS. So when you subtract the 52,000 or the 50, no, okay, so this one we are finding for cost of goods sold. So when you subtract that one, you are getting what? 39,000, somewhere 39,000. Yeah, so 39,600. You are getting 39,600. So this is the cost of goods sold. Now we have been able to get merchandise available for sale, which is beginning inventory plus purchases. You have them in the question, you are done. Now this one comes with a little bit, it's a little bit complicated. So when you are solving it, you need to take care. Cost of goods sold plus the percentage times net sale equal to net sale. And we did it here very nicely, and we have arrived at cost of goods sold as 39,600. So now that we have arrived there, we can calculate for our value of inventory and we are done. So we know our value of inventory, our value of inventory is equal to what? The merchandise available for sale, which is 66,700. So which is 66,700 minus the cost of goods sold, which is 39,600, right? So we solve for the difference and we have 27,100 as our final answer. So we have where should I write it? Let me write it down there. So the value of inventory is equal to 27,100. So from this question, everything or our main motive was to calculate for value of inventory, using the gross profit method. And so the value of inventory we had was 27,100. And so that is it. Okay, we are done calculating for the value of inventory and we have gotten 27,100. So now we can move on to calculate for another method. So let me repeat it again. Gross profit method, the formula is merchandise available minus cost of goods sold. The merchandise will not be given in the question. Cost of goods sold will not be given in the question. So you have to provide or find or make some provisions for merchandise available for sale. So this one, it is going to be beginning inventory plus what purchases. And beginning inventory is what? It was given in the question as 24,200. Purchases as what? 42,500. So we calculated for merchandise available for sale and we had 66,700. Very neat. Then when you come to cost of goods sold, the COGS, that one too was not given in the question, and we know the formula that it is COGS plus the markup, which is the percentage multiplying net sale equal to net sale again. So that is what we did here. The cost of goods sold plus percentage multiplying net sale equal to net sale. So COGS plus 13,200. So 25% times this will give you 13,200 equal to the net sale. So after getting this, it means you can group what like terms. This can go to the other side. That is what we did here. And we realize our COGS is what 39,600. So now that you have the COGS, it means you can calculate for the value of inventory. And we subtracted the merchandise available for sale 66,700 from the COGS, which is cost of goods available for sale, which is available for sale 39,600, and we had 27,100. Okay, so we are done with the gross profit method. We are now moving on to the retail method. Okay, we are moving on to the retail method. There is no exact difference between the retail method and the gross profit method. The only difference is that the retail method deals with items that are at what? Retail. Okay, items that are at retail. But this one we are going to look at items, initially we looked at items at cost. And the retail method, we are going to look at items at what? Retail. Okay. And you see, when we are calculating for uh, cost, how do you call it, gross profit method, we said our value of inventory is equal to your cost of merchandise or available, merchandise available minus, when we were talking about gross profit method, we said minus what? Cost of goods sold. But here we are going to deal with what? Net sales, right? So it's just minus net sales because this is at retail. Okay, so net sales. So you know how to calculate for merchandise available for sale already. So you know it is what? Beginning inventory plus what? Purchases, right? So that is all. The net sales will be provided in the question. So you just have to use beginning inventory at retail, purchases at retail. Don't use the one at cost. Okay. So that is it. Let's take a question and we say bye bye to retail method as well. So it says at Malcolm stores, inventory on April 30th was valued as 12,000 at cost and 16,000 at retail. So you see, they have given you beginning inventory at cost and retail. So when the question says use the retail method, it means you go for retail. Use the gross profit method, you go for cost. So our beginning inventory is equal to at retail, so that will be 16,000. Okay, that will be 16,000. Then during the next 3 months, the company made purchases of 20,000 at cost. We don't need cost, so move on. Or 40,000 at retail. So purchases was what 40,000. We are interested in the ones at retail. And had a total net sales of 42,000. And net sales has been given as 42,000. Okay. So we use the retail method to estimate the value of inventory. So we are going to calculate for what? Value of inventory. And this one is the same as the first one, but the first one, you see, we calculated for cost of goods sold. But here, because it is net sale, the net sale will be given in the question, and that is all. You just pick the answer there. So the one thing that you are going to calculate for is the merchandise available. Okay. So here we say solution, right? We bring our solution here. We say our value of inventory. The formula is here. So our merchandise available for sale is equal to um, beginning inventory, which is 16,000 at retail, plus purchases, which is 40,000 at retail. So here you are going to get what? 56,000. I hope that is clear. Okay. Yes. So since you are done with merchandise available, now what is left? Just subtract net sales from it and you are done. Okay. So here your value of inventory, is equal to your merchandise available for sale 56,000 minus your net sales, which was given as 42,000. Okay, so when you solve for it, you are going to get 14,000 as your final answer. So our value of inventory, what we are going to calculate for is what? 14,000. Is 14,000. Okay, so this is the retail method. Okay, so we are done with the last method, which is the lower cost or the market value, right? So you see, when you go to the market and you have two sellers selling one particular commodity, and that commodity has it's just a substitute commodity, and this one is having a higher price. If you are a rational consumer or other things before, what are you going to do? You just pick the one with a lower price, right? So when we are calculating for our inventory, this is what we do. We know the inventories that we have in our warehouse. Sometimes there can be wear and tear, there can be all sorts of what storage problems. So we always go in for what? The lower cost, right? We always go in for, because we don't want to go in for the upper cost so that at the end there will be loss. Do you get it? So we go in for the lower cost to calculate or estimate our profit. Then when we go to the market and the price goes up naturally, that one we make profit. You get it? So that is it. So let's tackle the market or the the lower cost or the market value. Okay. And the market value is always the lower cost. Okay. So we are going to draw a table and we take it from there. This is my own question. Okay, let's look at how we are going to solve it. Now we are saying you are going to create extensions, but first of all, you need to pick what? The lower cost. You need to pick the lower cost. These are all unit prices, right? So you pick one, but you have to pick the one with the lower. So you create a column called lower price or lower cost. Is that okay? So after creating that column, what you do is you check through, you compare the prices, which this and this, which one is lower? This one, right? So you have 9.72 here. Then this one and this, which one is lower? This, right? So you pick the 5 here, 5.00, 6.00. And this, which one is lower? This, right? So you pick 2.73. This 90. And this, which one is lower? This. So you pick 3.12. So you are going to pick the lower cost or the lower price. Okay. Then when you finish, you create what? Extension. And that will be all. Extension is where you get your final answer from. So you are going to get your final answer from extension. Okay, so now you calculate for the extension. Now we are done with these prices, right? So we are not going to use them. We are going to use our lower cost as our current price. So we are going to multiply our lower cost by each quantity. We don't know these two prices again. We are now taking the lower cost. So the extension for the first one will be 15, right? It will be 15 multiplying 9.72. 9.72. So you have 145.80. Okay. Then you do same for the second one, 12 multiplying 5. So you have 60.00. Then you do so for the third one, 9 points. So you have 9 times 2.73, and that is giving you 24.57. And the next one, you have 13 multiplying 3.12, and that is what? 40.56. Is that okay? So now, since you are done with all your extensions, what you have to do is you have to add all the extensions, and that one becomes your final answer. Okay, so we are going to add all these extensions. So we have 145.80 plus our 60 plus 24.57 plus 40.56. So we have the total extension. We have the total extension to be 270.93. 270.93 Ghana cedis. So we are done for the inventory using the lower cost method or the market value. Okay. So this is how to calculate for uh, all the methods of what? Inventory. Now that you are done with inventory, the topic says inventory and what? Turnovers. So see you in the next video. We are going to tackle what? Turnovers. Once again, my name is Afari Ennis. Kindly subscribe to Gradient Twitter. And if you have any problem, make sure you put it in the comment section. You like, you share, so that your friends also benefit at the same time. Thank you very much, and may your day be bright. Greetings to you all, and welcome again to Gradient Twitter. My name is Afari Ennis, and today we are going to look at the second part of this topic, which is the turnovers, right? So when we say turnovers, what does it mean? As a trader, or let's say, if you have a grocery store, the turnover is the number of times that you sell in a given year, right? So let's say you have, or let's say in a single day, you are selling a sachet of water. If you sell one, we call it, the turnover is one time. If you sell two of the bags, that is what? Two times. So you take one bag of water to the traffic light, you sell. Once you are done, if you come back again and take another bag and you go and sell, then the turnover becomes what? Two times, right? If you go and you come back again and sell, it becomes what? Three times. It means within that particular day, you have sold three bags of what? Or you have sold for three times. So the number of times that you sell in any given year or any given period is what we term as what? The inventory. But the turnover. But for turnover, it is normally calculated within what? A year. I hope that is okay. Yes, it is mostly calculated within a year. So let's look at some of the terminologies, some things that you are going to see. So once you see annually, then what does it mean? It means, uh, let's say, you sold within that particular period or that particular year. You sold for what? Just one time, just for once that you sold. Okay. So what is going to be our inventory? And that is why we are saying annually is what? Once a year. So that the whole of that year you sold what? Once. And what is it, or what does it mean? Here we are saying it is what? your beginning inventory plus ending inventory. Then what do? You divide everything by 2 because you divide it by what? 2, yes. So annually means what? Once in that particular what? Year. And why are we saying once in that particular year? Why are we saying once in that particular year? We have beginning plus ending inventory. Now you know ending inventory means what? At the end of the year, the inventory you had left or the item that you were having in your warehouse, that is what we call ending inventory. That is how you ended the year, right? And the beginning inventory is how you began the year. So you see, when the ending inventory in 2023, when it comes to January 2024, it becomes beginning inventory. That is not stocks for January. It becomes beginning inventory because that is our inventory we are starting the year with. Is that okay? So the beginning inventory and the ending inventory are being combined together. You ended the year with this and you are beginning another year with the beginning inventory, right? So that's the two comes together as what? One. Then you divide it by what? 2. Okay. Then we are saying if you hear semi-annual, it means every 6 months, right? So semi-annual, it means every 6 months. The number of times that you sell is what? Every 6 months. So for the every 6 months, it is going to be your beginning inventory, what you started the year with, plus that middle 6 months or that 6 months you are talking about. So 6 months plus the what you ended the year with. So ending inventory. And you see that now initially it was divided by 2 and now you have introduced another one. Right? So 1, 2, 3. So you have to divide it by what? 3. I hope you get it. And that is how we calculate for me. You count it 1, 2, 3. So you divide it by 3. Okay. So now we move on to quarterly. Right? Quarterly. We move on to quarterly. That is every 3 months. 3 months. When we say quarter, it means what? Out of 4. So it means the whole year, which is 12. The whole year, which is 12. We calculated or we sold for what? 4 times, right? So in month wise, it is going to be what? Every 3 months. Because how many 3 months we have in a year? We have January, February, March as 1, April, May, June as 2, right? July, August, September as 3rd, then October, November, December as 4. So we have 3 months 4 times in a year. So when we say every 3 months, it means we have 4 in a year. So it is going to be your beginning inventory plus every 3 months, or you can say quarterly, every quarterly. Yeah, you can say quarterly plus the ending inventory. And we are saying this one represents what? This one represents 4, right? And the beginning and the end is what? 1. Beginning and the end, we said that one, they come together as 1. Although they are 1 within the year, but when we are counting them, we just split them as separate what? Items. So beginning and what? Ending. So now since you have 4 here, 1, you divide everything by 8. Why you go to 3? You divide everything by what? Is it going to be 5? Yeah, 5. Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be 5. You are supposed to get 5. Okay. So quarterly. Quarterly means what? Every 3 months, and we have 4 3 months in the year. So we will sell 4 times plus our beginning and end. We have what? 5. And here every 6 months means what? Within the year we have 2 6 months. First 6 months, second 6 months. That is 2. This plus this is 1. Together with it is what? 3. That is the okay. Then we move on to the next one, which is monthly, right? We say monthly. And for monthly, we mean what? Every month. We mean every month. And that one is equal to your beginning inventory plus monthlies, right? So plus monthlies plus ending inventory, and that one will be equal to how many months do we have in a year? We have 12, right? We have 12. So when you add the beginning and inventory as one, sorry, the beginning and the ending as one, you are going to have what? 13. Here is 5 and here is 3. So this is what we are going to do. Okay, we will just pick a question, one question, then we learn how to go by, so that in the next time when they say quarterly, when they say monthly, you know what to do. Okay, so let's pick a question. The question says inventory for the year based on selling price are as follow. We have the beginning inventory as 90,000. We have the beginning as 90,000. Okay. Then we have end of month 3. So first 3 months. So 3 months we have 80,000. Then end of month 6. So the next uh, 3 months was giving us 100,000. And it says what? End of month 9. So the next 3 months will give us 70,000, right? So we have 70,000. And end of month 12, which is the ending, this one, they said the ending month, right? So that is what? 60,000. So 12 months, that is what? 60,000. Okay. So this one, we have, okay, we have 5 commodities, or we have 5 months or 5 items, 1 2 3 4 5, right? Yeah, so we are just going to add them and we divide everything by what? 5. But then looking at it, it was giving us what? Quarterly. So we're supposed to have our beginning inventory plus the quarterly plus the ending inventory. The more reason why I said the beginning and the ending are mostly together to give us 1 is that here, like the quarterly, you were given the 9 months, and the last 3 months was classified as what? Our ending inventory. You get it? So the ending inventory has become part of this quarterly. This ending inventory will also become part of this what? 6 months. This ending inventory will become part of the beginning inventory. This ending inventory will become part of the last month in the year, which is December. Do you get it? So that it will be what? 12 plus 1, 13. This one will be what? 4 times, right? So this one will join this to get 4 plus 1 to get what? 5. Then you divide it over 5. You get it? So for the ending and the beginning inventory, don't count them all together. The ending and the beginning inventory, classify them as what? 1. Okay. All right. So we have our items here. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add everything together. So our beginning inventory is giving us 90,000 plus the first 3 months 80,000 plus the next 3 months, which is 100,000 plus the next 3 months, which is 70,000 plus the next one, which is 60,000. Then we divide everything here by what? 5. Okay. So when we do that, what do we have? We have 400,000 divided by 5. So we have 400,000 divided by what? 5. And so for that matter, we are going to get 80,000. Okay, we are going to get 80,000 as our average inventory. As our average inventory. So we are done calculating for our average. What is it? They said we should calculate what? Compute the inventory turnover at retail. Okay. So now that we are done getting our average inventory, don't forget I told you for the turnover you are not supposed to get an amount. You are supposed to get what? Number of times. So number of times you sold that particular commodity. So now that you have gotten your average inventory, let me clean here so that I use the space. Now that we have our average inventory, we are going to calculate for our inventory at retail. Okay, our inventory at retail. So our inventory at retail is our inventory at retail. And you know, when we were treating the gross profit and the retail method, we said that one, the retail method deals with what? Net sales, not cost of goods sold. So here, when you come to the turnover, is it turnover or inventory? Inventory turnover. So inventory turnover at retail. Here, you are going to divide your average inventory, right? So I'm going to divide your average inventory by, or how do you put it? Your net sales by average inventory. So we write net sales divided by average inventory. Average inventory. Okay. So once you get that, we can say our net sales was given as what? What is the question? I did not write the question. The net sales was given as 520,000 from the question. 520,000. So we have the net sales to be what? 520,000. Okay, divided by average inventory 80,000. So here, this one goes, this one goes. This CD will cancel out this, right? And so you have 6.5, no more currency, so it becomes times. Okay, so this is what the average, the inventory turnover. So when we talk about turnover, you have to get what number of times, not what currency. Put that one in mind, and don't forget the quarterly, the monthly, and the rest. Is that okay? So on this note, we are done with what inventory and what turnovers. In our next video, we are going to meet for another topic. Okay. Once again, my name is Afari Ernest and welcome to Grade A Twitter. Kindly subscribe, share, and like the video.